welcome to my channel. This is going to be the Sinister Fairytale Collection Spotlight video for VEDA. Okay, so if you did not know, I am doing VEDA, which is video every day in April, and this video right here, don't know when it's going up, but I wanted to talk about fairy tale retellings and imaginings. My video for a few recommendations went over pretty well. A lot of people were like, oh, I love some fairy tale retellings, reimaginings. Well, last year, at the end of the year, I was invited to participate in a dark fairy tale retelling group and a huge collection of books that was coming out, and I have been arc reading for them. So I figured I would give you guys, there are, like I said, a bunch of books, and we're down to the last 5 books that need to come out, and I wanted to do sort of a recap and give you guys my thoughts and feelings on the books that I've already read and let you know which fairy tales they follow and give you guys some recommendations so you guys can go check them out. If you like these fairy tales, then you'll probably like these, and you have a dark heart. Let me put that out there too. And you have a dark heart and like a dark twisted sort of thing to go along with your fairy tale, like a reimagining of something that's dark and twisted, then these are definitely some books that you guys should go check out. So I'm just going to start it off and talk about Venom by Dee Garcia. This is a Peter Pan, Tink, and Hook fairy tale retelling, and I absolutely love it. It does spin off into a standalone series, but this book is definitely dark. It is very twisted. Tinkerbell is, or Tinksley, I'm sorry, not Tinkerbell, Tinksley, is a very disturbed and traumatized fairy. Oh my goodness. I didn't think, you would think this spritey, pretty, fun-loving Tink would be, you know, bubbly, and I didn't think an author could, like, destroy that, but Dee did, in, like, the best way. I loved every single moment of it. I loved how sinister Hook and Tink were, and, Peter, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, it, like, gave me feels of Once Upon a Time Peter, where you didn't know if he was a good guy or if he was a bad guy, and yes, so many yeses. Next book I'm going to talk about is Cold Queen by K. Webster. This is a Frozen retelling, reimagining, and I was here for it. Like, I didn't even realize that it was a Frozen reimagining until I got to the end of the book, and then I started asking. I was like, which fairy tale was that supposed to be? Because that's how reimagined it is. It is about a queen that is sort of losing her powers, and then a prince comes in, or a king comes in, and he is from the opposite side of the world, and they have to sort of make their worlds mesh together. Then you have a princess that needs to be taken care of, and it's just so good. It's very much reimagined, that you get the feels of Frozen, like, after you've read it and you're like, I see the connection now. I see the connection. But when you're reading it, or at least when I was reading it before it came out, I was like, I don't see the connection. I don't see the connection. And now I'm just like, yes. So many yeses. It is so good. So very good. The next retelling I'm going to talk about is Sacrifice by Isabelle Blanco. This is a Hercules and Meg sort of Hades and Persephone, I think it is. Is it Hades and Persephone? It's something like that, but it's Hercules and Meg, and they're in this sort of alternate reality, and it was different. This one does sort of feed into a series that Isabelle Blanco has. So it felt a little disconnected because I think I needed to read some of the other books that were in this series before I read this one, but overall it was a pretty good book. The next book I'm going to talk about is Insolent by by Cynthia A. Rodriguez. This is a Brave reimagining. I actually wasn't a huge fan of this one. I didn't feel the connection of Merida, the character Merida from Brave, and the story. I felt like it was a little too pushed or too forced to try and make sure that it didn't follow the storyline of the big conglomerate that you can get in trouble for, you know, using their stories. And it didn't have enough reimagining for my liking. So, the next one I'm talking about is Madness by Kailee Reese Samuels. Yes. Kailee Reese Samuels. And this is an Alice in Wonderland retelling. This one right here does not have an HEA, so technically it isn't a romance, but it most definitely has romantic elements, and it is very dark. It is very twisted, and it is very much a reimagining of Alice in Wonderland. It's definitely, it's a special one. It is a special one. But I love this cover. I think this cover is so just so good. So very good. And I did enjoy the story, even though I wasn't given an HEA. But in the story of Alice in Wonderland, you weren't given an HEA either. You were kind of left on a cliffhanger for Through the Looking Glass. So I kind of understand how the reimagining for this story didn't complete itself. So, yes, definitely. Next one to talk about is Siren by Hazel Grace. This is a Little Mermaid reimagining, and I loved it oh so much, so much. Little Mermaid is probably my favorite fairy tale, and I don't care. I like the Disney version. I like the happy part of your world. Yes, I'm here for it. Here for it. So you have mermaids in this one, and they are stuck on an island. So there comes this reimagining. There's a bit of a love triangle that goes on. There is some dark and twisted forces that are involved in it, and I was here for this story. So here for this story. The next book I'm going to talk about is Legend by MR Leahy, and this is a Tarzan Jane reimagining, just structure. I was like, yes, yes. In some moments, I felt like it was a little bit of a Lion King retelling, but overall, because of the character names that were changed for it, it is definitely a Tarzan Jane reimagining. You have very much a darkness. It has a little bit of a Journey to the Center of the Earth feel to it as well, and I just really enjoyed it. You have a dark, twisted king that is trying to take over this land, but then you have a hidden prince that, you know, when he comes of age, he's supposed to do what he needs to do. It has fated mates involved in it, and I was here for this story. I was like, yes, we're bringing it back. We're bringing it back, and I love it. Love it. Plus, I love this cover. And the next one I'm going to talk about is Mirage by CM Radcliff. This is a part of a duet, so it kind of wasn't my fave. It is an Aladdin retelling, so you have a princess who is supposed to be part of this huge conglomerate, and you have the evil sort of sorcerer that is like taking over or trying to take over and marry her, but he has his flaws and he's not doing it right, and she's not in love with him. Well, then there's this guy that is the thief, and he sort of is the protector. I wasn't feeling this story. I didn't feel the connection, and it leaves off on a huge cliffhanger because this one right here is part of a duet. Like legit part of a duet. Not happy about that. The next book I'm going to talk about is Imprisoned by KL Donn, and this is a Sleeping Beauty / Maleficent retelling, and I was here for it. 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 It has fantastical moments in it. It has magic. It has whimsical, just beautifulness, and it's set in modern times. It has a menage feel to it, and I was here for it. here for it. There are trigger warnings for human trafficking for this one, so tread lightly if that is something that you are triggered by, but overall, it was an amazing book. I was like, yes, yes. The next book I'm going to talk about is Locke by Kimberly Knight, and this is a Rapunzel reimagining. I was not completely taken by this one. One of my pet peeves, or one of my hard lines, is when we have a dark romance theme that is applied to YA characters, and I shy away from those. This one does end up occurring, this story does end up occurring as they are turning 18. Our two characters are turning 18. One is supposed to be the son of a mob boss, and they own a brothel, and then our female character is turning 18, and she has been kept in the tower, kept away from life and people and things like that for all of her life until she turns 18, and then she might, so, but there's that. And then the last one that I have finished reading was Stealing Cinderella by a Zavarelli, and this is a Cinderella retelling. I loved it oh so much. Oh so much. Now there are a lot of trigger warnings within this book, but it was amazing. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So tread lightly if BDSM, if consent, non-consent is, and whatchamacallit, murder, torture, kidnapping, things like that trigger you, I would probably stay away from this one. If you have a dark heart like I do and are interested in things like that, then definitely go into this book because it's flippin' amazing. I hope you guys can't hear that. Those are my boys vacuuming. But it is so good. So, so very, very good. Loved it oh so much. So, yeah. I can't say enough about this story. So here is what is to come. These are the last 5 books. I have no clue which fairy tales, because I don't look ahead, are going to be reimagined in these books. So I will just give you guys the covers if they're available and, you know, let you guys know. So we have Abducted by KI Lynn, Winter's Arrow by Lexi C. Foss, Scarlet by Cora Kenborn, Zazan by Anne Edwards, and Heart Thief by Dukey. So those are the books in the Sinister Fairytale Collection. If you have a dark heart like I do and you love some twisted imagined things that deals with fairy tales. I didn't even realize I loved fairy tale retellings until I started reading this collection as much as I do. I mean, it like takes me back. It just takes me back. And then twists me on in. Gives me 2 things that I love and mashes them together. And sometimes there's misses, as you heard, and sometimes there are some amazing things that come out. And they're all fairly short books, so you can definitely sit down and read them in, you know, 1 or 2 sittings. With everything that's going on in the world, you could definitely read one in a day and be like, oh, yes, yes. So go out and try those. Let me know down in the comments if you have read any of those books already, if you're gonna go read them from my descriptions, or even by the cover, because I know there's a lot of people that watch my channel. You guys really are just like I am, and you read books based off the cover and maybe the author's name or something like that. Pretty much every single one of those authors I had never read before, with the exception of Webster, Dukey I've read before, and that was it. Those are the two authors out of that entire list that I had read before. Everyone else was a new to me author, and like I said, some of them I was pleasantly just ready to dive into their backlists and loved their writing for these books, and then there's some were misses. But yeah, enough chit chat. this video is going to be a longer one. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And you got some good recommendations. Hope you guys are enjoying VEDA, which is Video Every Day in April, like I said before. If you have read any of those books, let's talk about them down in the comment section. Probably said that already. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, there is a feedback form down in the description box so you guys can help me improve my channel. There's a recommendation form down there as well. Give me the title of the book, the author of the book, and the genre in which it possibly falls into. Also leave me your name and I will shout you out if I end up reading the book and reviewing it. So there we go. I hope you guys are enjoying this and we will see you guys in tomorrow's video.